A man in shoes 15 million years ago. That's just a joke. According to science, at that time, man was just getting on his feet, and not very confidently, so there was no talk of any shoes. And metal tools, sealed in ancient coal, from a period when there was no talk of man's existence at all, let alone metal processing technologies. And ancient burials and sarcophagi. What else were the miners able to dig up that were so interesting? And today we will talk about how the miners, without knowing it, broke the entire scientific picture. Archaeologists and anthropologists are confused. The finds they get from under the ground are simply outrageous. Imagine, metal 300 million years old. Actually, such an age is not surprising. Earth metals can be much older. It is believed that they originated as a result of the formation of the solar system and our planet. Thanks to a whole series of events 13.8 billion years ago, the Earth arose, a house full of resources. But here are metal products. According to historians, people learned to process metal in the first millennium BC, but the authoritative opinion of scientists was blown up by miners. In the 19th century, while developing a pit, workers led by Robert Lindsay came across a monolithic coal layer half a meter thick. Later, geologists studied the coal and determined its age. 300 million years. Nothing strange so far, right? The shock was what was hidden inside the monolith. A piece of a large metal drill or bolt was found there, and it was definitely not processed manually, although maybe not human hands contributed. The find is so correct and symmetrical that all doubts disappear. It was made on a machine, and the drill certainly could not have been left by previous workers. The coal layer hermetically concealed the artifact. Scottish antiquary John Buchanan gave a report on this matter at a meeting of the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland. Mr. Buchanan noted that he shared the opinion of geologists about the age of the coal and trusted the workers who witnessed the extraction of the artifact. The members of the society had doubts about the appearance of the find. It seemed to them that the object was made here and now. But the hermetic packaging of a metal artifact in ancient coal contradicts their assumptions. A metal object made on a machine and coal aged 300 million years are so inconsistent with each other that the idea of a slipped fake seems the only correct one. But this is not the only such find. In 1912, a walled-up cast-iron pot was discovered in a coal block of the same age. This time, generally accepted historical knowledge was slightly shaken and fainted. After all, they learned to smelt cast iron only in the 4th to 5th centuries BC. And how to understand all this? Could it have happened that the older lower layer of coal softened somehow and an artifact fell into it from the earlier layers? In theory, it couldn't. Therefore, we can only guess. How did the objects get into the rock? Maybe in the same way as a tiny bolt into an ancient stone. In Russia, Kaluga region, during the search for meteorite fragments, a stone was discovered that was 300 million years old. An iron bolt was literally built into it. The age of the stone, by the way, was confirmed by paleontologists, as well as the fact that the object got inside before it hardened. There are a great many versions of the appearance of such an unusual thing, and that someone dropped the bolt and then trampled it into the rock, and that during the Great Patriotic War it was driven there by an explosion. There were also the most crazy versions, according to scientists. The bolt was thrown by aliens or lost by time travelers. All of them have been refuted. There are no confirmed facts that the artifact is pressed into the stone. The rock is not damaged, and there is no faith in other civilizations at all. One way or another, the stone is there. The bolt is in it. But there are no explanations. Or maybe ancient people are not so ancient. You may ask, how can we understand this? Let me explain. Homo sapiens, according to scientists, appeared about 200,000 years ago. Ancient man settled on the Earth 40,000 years ago. People reached the American continent only 15,000 years ago. And in 1856 in the USA, California, at the height of the gold rush, prospectors got hold of a human skeleton, which also fits into the category of paradoxes. There is nothing unexpected in the skeleton itself, except that it was firmly packed in a coal seam. Geologist Josiah Whitney reported that the rock was formed 55 million years ago, and the skeleton, it turns out, was formed earlier. What a twist. Nevertheless, anthropologists decided that they were being joked about. By the way, the skeleton is stored in an unknown location, according to some sources in the Institute of Paleontological Research, New York. According to others, it is at Yale University, New Haven. Or maybe the artifact is being deliberately hidden from the public. For example, it is being studied using some cutting-edge methods. A joke, of course. But still, it would be interesting to know the opinion of 21st century scientists. I wonder what explanation scientists have given for the traces of an unknown civilization. No, not in a figurative sense, similar to the expression trace in history. Traces, in the most literal sense of the word. In 1927, a boot print was found in a coal seam in Fisher Canyon, Nevada. And not just any boot, but a fashionable one, with a heel with a double seam around the perimeter. According to calculations, the boot is size 13, and that's size 45 in our Russian, by the way. So what? Someone walked through a swamp and got immortalized. And really, nothing special. If you don't take into account that the print was left in a coal seam 15 million years old, how did it get there? Again, it is not clear. Here, of course, science fiction writers got busy again. They assured everyone around that this was a trace of a time traveler. Although, who knows these science fiction writers? Maybe they are right. The absurdity of this whole situation is given by the complete absence of other traces. We are dealing with just a single print, and not a series of steps. At the same time, the scientific world says that the artifact is genuine. It has nothing to do with falsification. Well, try to figure it out. It looks like a time traveler fell from some future, pushed off with one foot and flew on. Still, no other clear explanation has been provided, only solid hypotheses and assumptions. Here is another strange find. Miners found something that was supposed to turn the world upside down, but instead they were told to keep quiet. No photos, no revelations. Something clearly went wrong, right? What kind of document is this? 2008, Donetsk Mine. At the farthest kilometer, the miners find something strange, a perfectly round object, similar to a wheel, grown right into the rock. It even had patterns similar to spokes. The miners naturally stopped working and called the mine owner, hoping that experts would solve the mystery of this object. But alas, instead of research and sensations, the miners were disappointed. The mine owner doubted that because of the mysterious find, work would have to be stopped or even close the mine forever. Therefore, he ordered the miners to remain silent, to continue working, not to tell anyone about the find, and, most importantly, no photos. And so, the find was simply hushed up, and they decided to close the secret. Fortunately, there was a daredevil. One of the miners, risking everything, took several photos and published them on the internet so that the world would know about this find. Thanks to him, we know this story. The miners tried to extract the wheel themselves, but it was so tightly stuck to the rock that it was simply impossible to do so without damaging it. With a heavy heart, they left the mysterious round object in the mine and continued working. This wheel was embedded in rock that was thousands of years old. Its extraction could have been a sensation, proving the existence of ancient civilizations with technologies that we have no idea about. But fate decreed otherwise. The mine where it is located has been flooded for several years, and it seems that this unique find is lost to us forever. How do you like these inconvenient finds of miners that paradoxically destroy scientific theories? But that's not all. Many have probably heard the sensational story from the village of Rozhavchik. Let us recall that during work in a coal mine, a white sarcophagus was found in rock that is over 250 million years old. Inside the sarcophagus was a woman in a strange solution with a mysterious object in her hand. That same famous Tisul princess. Before transporting the coffin, they tried to remove the woman from the liquid. After the body came into contact with oxygen, instant decay began. But it was stopped by immersing the woman back into the liquid. This unexpected find marked the beginning of the search for similar artifacts from ancient times. Experts believe that at least 7 similar finds were discovered in the Soviet Union. All of them were similar in many details. For example, all the bodies were immersed in a solution. Some say bluish, some say pinkish. But in each case, there was liquid inside the sarcophagus. The discovery of all these finds was kept a closely guarded secret, although it was difficult to hide something like this from curious locals. And despite all the non-disclosure agreements, secret information, especially in the 90s, became widespread. The second find was discovered near the village of Rozhavchik. In a nearby mine, the military found 2 sarcophagi made of a similar white material, probably marble. A special flight of a helicopter without identification marks took both finds to an unknown destination. This happened in 1970. Another similar sarcophagus was found in Mongolia. In 1973, a secret research group was sent to the Gurvan Saihan Ul mountain range on the advice of local residents. Under rather strange circumstances, the only civilian scientist who was part of the expedition group died during the research. What exactly was found in the cave is unknown. But a similar special transport, without identification marks, took away this mysterious find. Local residents who had been to this cave before said later that the entrance to it was blown up, and now it is impossible to enter inside. According to some information, in 1972, one local monk, inspired by a trip to the Tibetan mountains, went to Gurvan Saikan Ul to explore the cave. He believed that there could be Mahatma in a state of samadhi, but there he found another white sarcophagus. Later, similar finds were discovered in Dagestan, in the Kazakh Soviet Socialist Republic, and in Yakutia. Unfortunately, today it is very difficult to reconstruct the events of those times. These ancient artifacts remained classified for everyone. It is difficult to even guess who these mysterious, sleeping people are. And are they even people? If they are several million years old, then it is quite possible that these creatures came to us from other galaxies. Why did they fall asleep? It is unknown. When such mysteries, millions of years old, emerge, it is almost impossible to determine their origin. And what can we talk about? Today we are watching how the entire history of the Slavs is turned upside down. And here are tens, hundreds of millions of years. How many civilizations have changed, but people have not been able to learn decency and respect for their ancestors. Therefore, almost all the mysteries of antiquity baffle people. And who do you think is there? I read somewhere that it could be a biorobot. But why then did the body begin to decompose right before our eyes without liquid? There is something to think about. Share your opinion.